Hey guys, just a guy here with another little tips and trick video. This is for people who want to do auto fishing on an MCMMO server. Behind me here is my first attempt at it, which was obvious, a rail cart, or a minecart. Unfortunately, at least on the server I'm on, if you're in a minecart and you try to cast fishing, it instantly kicks you out of the minecart, so that doesn't work. This right here, but this would be a super simple method of doing it if you wanted. You just have to make sure they're too far apart, at least 3 blocks, and you fish in 2 spots with a comparator leading into some stuff to kick you the other direction after you fish. But obviously, unless your server allows you to cast a rod while in a minecart, I wouldn't even bother with this. But other than the minecart, it's pretty similar to what I already did. This was my next attempt, which was boats. They're just 2 things on each side. I didn't quite finish this side. And it just has a big comparator delay clock that kicks off every time the observer goes off from the comparator. This one goes every single time you fish, and then I moved on to this, which put this little counter system. There's 3 items in this counter, and every time the comparator here goes off, which would be the comparator on the hopper leading from the fish, the counter goes down by 1. Every 3 this thing pulses, which resets this, but it will also, on the real one, set out the pulse to start the comparator clock to activate the trap door. So if we toss 3 items in here, you can see it'll flood the thing and push the boat over. Well, the boat was already over on the side. And then it'll cut out. I could probably lower the delay, but I like to make sure you're absolutely sure you're up against the wall. Oops. So if it goes 3 on this side, it'll flow the other way. Actually, this one doesn't have the thing, so that's just every one. For the final demonstration, we'll cut to the server one I have going. Alright, so this is so far the janky thing I have for the server. You'll notice it's more or less the same. The comparator thing, the counter, I just have a furnace on top to prevent items from falling in the hopper and possibly cutting down lag. I'm not sure. You know how that works. Same on the other side over here. The extra glass blocks and stuff are just there to prevent zombies from walking in because I haven't mob-proofed this very much. And then out the back I have my storage system. There's some storage that leads into a glass elevator that pops out over here. They all end up on these bottom chests, right? And then I can take all the items out, like drop all, because I have a plugin that lets me do that. And over here I can salvage and repair all the armors and pieces and stuff, and then put all the food and stuff in here, and that lets me level up my repair skills and get stuff like that for useful things like that. But you need something. Your storage being full is one of the easiest ways this machine can break, because if items can't pass through the comparator, the boats won't move side to side. So you want at least something to catch it all or something to throw it away. You start to get good loot eventually, things like gas tiers and blaze rods, enchanted armor, and stuff like that. So you kind of want to keep it. I'm just saying that if you're planning AFKing overnight or something, you might want a really good storage system or something that destroys extras. In this case, if it gets absolutely full, the item elevator items will despawn. So to start it, you just stand in the boat. You want to fill up your inventory, every little square, so you don't pick anything up, because if you pick up items and it doesn't go through the hopper, it can break the system because it won't count, and you only get 4 casts before it goes to the overfishing thing. You just won't ever catch anything again. So that's why I set it to 3, so you have one little grace period. If you feel like you mess up too much, you can set it to 2 items in the counter. So you just want to aim at the very top, sort of about halfway through the trap door when it's down, and you'll see the little bobber get stuck, and your boat should be roughly just cutting through the edge of the pressure plate. You'll gain about 1 level per fish at the start, and then eventually it'll get really, really slow. XP is something like 100 per fish, 200 or 300 or 400 or whatever for treasure. The better the treasure, the better. I think I've seen something as high as 1,000 for like the rare stuff, like a gas tier and stuff. Most of the items, like the leather pieces and stuff like that, are like 200 to 300 XP, and you need, you know, a lot per level. So here we go. We're gonna shift side to side, I think, on this one. Oh, you'll notice the bobber seems to have fallen underneath my boat. It will still trigger it eventually. It might miss a cycle or two, but it seems to keep trying. So eventually it'll go off. There we go. And now we're gonna go sideways. And you want to watch this at least for 1 full cycle to make sure when you go sideways that your aim is good on both targets. So you want to make sure you at least catch a fish before you go AFK and just leave everything. So we caught one there. You want to be in a river, You want to be in a river ocean biome where your fishing block is. In this case, we're in a warm ocean. I don't know if your standing spot matters, but I would just err on the side of caution. Because where you get a fishing speed increase for being in an ocean or a river biome. You get one for being sky access, and if it's raining, you get another bonus. And then in case of the MCMMO skills, like these, you also get one for being in a boat once you get the Master Angler rank 1 at least. So this right here, the -15 and 1.5 and 4.5 thing, only applies when you're in a boat, I think, maybe. Plus it just pushes you side to side easier. This right here, this repeater is really important. It's the anti-latency protection. In a single player world or a no lag world, you wouldn't need this. But that protects you against the server lag, so you don't just flip constantly. If there's a little bit of delay between when you click and when the server registers your clicks, so you'll miss the trapdoor constantly. So that's all I did, is I pushed this back a block from most fish farms and used the repeater to prevent that. Other than that, it's mostly just the counting system and that together. Alright guys, let's try building this. I've never been the best at building on camera, but let's try to go. So first off, we need to start with your center, so to speak, however you want to figure that out. You need the blocks, 2 blocks, and then your hopper, 2 blocks, and your hopper, and then another hopper out. Now these are currently pointing in, but they really should be pointing down. Well, pointing in the direction you want your storage system to go, let's just say. Man, I can't type left-handed. So you want to have your storage system all leading out to whatever you want to do with it. But I do find pointing down into a chest is good. If it points down into another hopper, you can have issues because the speed passes so fast the comparator doesn't even notice it. So next to the hoppers you have over here at the edge, you want a comparator on each side, taking a reading from these. And then from these you want an observer. Reading the comparator. Now this is just so it detects every change. It doesn't need a certain signal strength. So it could be a stackable item or a non-stackable item, doesn't matter. And this will go into a block. It doesn't really matter what kind. And then we'll just ignore those for now and finish the fishy part. So you need 2 fence posts. Doesn't really matter what kind, whatever suits your fancy. Right there, I believe. So we put those two there. That's where the water's going to be. Then you want a block right here. Alright, so you need some blocks right here. Anything that lets an item pass through works. I find slabs to be the best, so you can have the boat go across it safely and easily. And then you just want your extra hoppers are here. These are optional. I just use them for safety. So you want that one, two pointing to that side, and then these two pointing into this side. You can skip these and just have normal blocks here, but again, I put them there for insurance. So we just go surround it, and then on top here, you want more slabs. And right here, you want a trapdoor facing this way, so when it's open, we'll need a target block. I just find it easiest. I think. Does that work? No. Want to be right there. There we go. So when it's open, it faces that way. It'll keep the water from flowing out. Same on this side. Just one underneath and a trap door. Then you need some blocks here to hold the water in. Any block really. Although I like glass because you can see through it in case there's a mistake. And there's also the benefit of not being spawnable. Oops. Oh, I have a feeling I did this slightly different than I did before. Oh well. Alright. You might want to do this last because it can make a big mess, but since I'm in creative, I don't worry about it too much. The water goes in here like so. And it'll keep, every time the door opens, it'll go out. And then you also want some note blocks. Well, technically it could be any block that you can interact with without casting your rod. So I just use note blocks. And then you could have note blocks up here. I also used iron trap doors that open the other way. Just so that if there's a fish, you have a slight chance of catching it before you go to the next section. Just this giant one. And you just use something to activate these to have it up. So when you're going by, you just target the iron doors. Then we want some blocks. Like so. I think. It's not entirely sure. And then you want to come out one and then down one just so the water automatically flows. Doesn't have to be glass, like I said. It's just spawn proof and you can see if there's a mistake. So if you did it right, there we go. The water should flow that way, like so. This last bit I'm not entirely sure is absolutely necessary, but I just do it for safety's sake. Alright, and then you need this one here to be a note block. And you want the iron door here at the bottom, like so. And you want the iron heavy pressure plate. It has to be a weighted heavy pressure plate, just so that only certain items trigger it. You want a gap so it doesn't go off, and you're going to have that of redstone dust, a repeater. If you're on a server, if you're not on a server, you can just squish this back one and not use a thing at all. But if you're on a server, you want this repeater set to anywhere between 1 and 3. 1 being the least, 3 being the highest amount of latency or lag. If you go up to 4, it's too slow to even notice the bobber triggering, and you won't be able to catch anything. So if you're that bad of latency, you're just out of luck. But you want this to go into a block. Any block works. It doesn't really matter. It has to be redstone conductive though. So we can just use a lamp here for flashy light goodness. Doesn't really matter. So when this goes off, this little thing triggers and then goes off. All good. Just repeat that on the other side. Alright guys, let's do this take 2. I was going to show you the other side. I made so many mistakes. Let's just show you building this side. Okay, so first off, we have this little thing we already built. This has to be off to the side. I had it beneath before, down here. But it was locking this hopper while it was operated, so this needs to be off to the side. I don't know if this lamp is important or not. I don't think so, but I choose it to indicate when it's on or off. You want to come out a block from the comparator with the observer like we did. Redstone dust. Repeater set to max delay. And then from the repeater, we go to a dropper. And the direction isn't super important. You want it to face one way and then have a hopper face into it so it refills the dropper when it's not locked. You want a target block behind it, and then you want a composter or a furnace or some sort of one slot item to on top of the hopper just to prevent lag. You know, whatever. And nothing can fall in and mess up your counter. From there, we're going to go to the block right next to the dropper. Have a comparator come out of it. Get a comparator. There we go. And then we'll go into a repeater. Max delay. And this is going to go into a sticky piston facing the direction of your target block. You want a redstone. You want to put 3 atoms in there. This is how many times you can fish before it switches sides. On my server, you can fish up to 4 times before you get the warning about there being overfishing, and then on the 5th time and above, you don't get anything. If it's different on your server, you could raise this or lower this. I did 3 because if you hit 4 and fail, you'll never get another fish, so it might lock you. With 3, there's 1 grace period to possibly catch you if for whatever reason the item does not get counted or doesn't fall in the hopper or some reason. If you have a lot of issues with this, you could drop it down to 2. But, you know, whatever. So, on this side, when it's fully extended, you want to have it a max delay repeater into the target block. This will lock the hopper as long as there's at least 1 item still in the dropper. And then from over here, you're going to take a reading from the redstone block when it's not extended. And it's going to go into another max delay repeater. And this is your comparator clock or whatever. I did 4 previously, but I think you can get away with 3 because it was open too long. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 in one direction, and then 3 in the other direction. And then we want redstone dust at the ends. This is our little thing. And then we're going to go and deal with this. So we need to have a line come out. These don't have to be glass, by the way. And in fact, right here where you're coming down a step, you need something other than glass because glass cannot go downwards. There's redstone. And then from there, you need at least one repeater set to max delay at some point between this and the target block. And this will briefly flip the thing every time this goes off. So this should be all done. So let's get a boat out and test it. So just put your boat down anywhere, really. And then you want to scooch up. So your boat is just barely clipping the pressure pad. You can move up or down a little bit. As you want to put it as straight as possible, by the way, so that when you go side to side, nothing really changes. As you see, you want to aim at just about the middle of the trapdoor when it's down. Push F3 and then T to reload the resource packs, and that should lock you into whatever button you're pushing. And you can let go of right click, and it'll just keep going. You can tab out or open a new, different window if you don't want to worry about the mouse moving while you do other things. But this should go. And now this is the plugin for MCMMO is not installed here, but as you can see, that goes. Okay, now we're flushing. And then we're on the other side. And you can see with the 3 comparators, there's more than enough time to flush me to the other side. It's much longer than in the real game because I don't have the plugin installed. It would speed up my fishing for being in a boat or anything like that. I'm not in a river biome because in this creative world, it's all plains. But as you can see, it's working. And if you want to test it without, just drop items in there. So 1 more. There's 2, and then 3. Did I put one of these in backwards? So that one did not work. Let's try it again. 1. Let's just do this side. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. This could be glass. This one can't. But yeah, you can't step down as glass. Alright, so this should work now. 1. Come on. Stupid boat. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then, like I said, you want to have a robust storage system because you'll catch a lot of junk that doesn't stack. And this could possibly be compacted somehow, but I just fiddled around with this because I found out I wanted to level the skill. It was super tedious. You get like 1 level per fish to start with, and then it's like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 fishes. Takes a long time. This surpasses all the anti-AFK, anti-cheating methods that I've seen so far. You move more than 3 blocks apart for that. You're in a boat, so that speeds you up. You don't right-click too much is what these do. If the trapdoor keeps flipping too much, you can get kicked for auto-click spam. And it bypasses the automatically kick you out if you're in a minecart thing that I ran into with one of my previous builds over here. Wait, no, it's this one. This was my first attempt where if you're in a minecart, automatically the server I was on kick you out. So the more simple system here doesn't work. And then other things I've tried didn't work. But this is the working one. It's just 2 boats, or 1 boat, 2 fishing spots with the block extended by 1 than the normal fishing thing, so you have an anti-latency thing protection right here with the repeater set to 3, as opposed to the iron plate being right next to the trapdoor. And that's about it. Just a system that moves you back and forth far enough to not count as overfishing, and the latency protection for that so you don't get kicked. I hope you guys could follow that. I'm sorry it took many takes and a couple edits, but I'm not the best at building redstone on camera, even when I designed it myself. But catch you guys later. Just a guy signing off. Bye.